Welcome back, my sunshiny friends. How are we today? I am not alone.
Hi, guys.
So Kyla has joined me today for the much anticipated Wegovy versus Zepbound showdown. So yeah, I'm gonna try to get right into it because I know that sometimes I can just talk on and on and on. But for anybody that is new here, hello and happy new year. I am Cheryl. And I have been on a lifestyle modification journey for 10 freaking months now. I can't believe that's just wild to me.
That's amazing.
That's a long time.
That's amazing.
Don't forget to take your shoes too. So February 27th of last year now, wow, I started Zepbound, which is tirzepatide, FDA approved for weight loss. I have lost a total of, so technically I have lost 56 pounds in the last couple of days. I gained 2 pounds. And I'll talk about that in another video because this video is going to be strictly Kyla, but I'm blaming my husband for that. So we have looked back in our notes and in her chart from her doctor.
Yes.
How long ago was it?
So I started during the pandemic.
Okay, wow. So that's 4 years?
That was, I started December 10th of 21.
Wow, so almost 4 years.
And everything was virtual at that time.
Wow.
So I didn't meet anybody in person.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
3 years, okay.
Yeah.
And you were taking?
Wegovy.
And now, did you only stay at one dose, or had you dosed up during the time that you were there?
No, you start at the lowest dose,
okay,
which I think was 2.5. And I stayed on that for X amount of months.
Okay.
Monitored my weight loss. So I had to do all the monitoring at home. It was through a weight loss doctor.
So did you talk to your doctor first, or did you go to one of the weight loss clinics?
No, we know about it. Yeah.
Okay, so in case anyone is new and hasn't seen any of our videos together in the past, Kyla is an RN, and during the pandemic, you were working in the hospital.
Yes.
One of our heroes here, she worked all through COVID, 60, 80 hours a week minimum. Literally, yeah, it was insane.
Yeah.
So all through COVID, you're there and you're stressed out. Did you start gaining weight through COVID?
So if we can back up a little bit, I have a tendency to binge eat in the winter, gain a lot of weight, gain 30 to 40 pounds every single winter, every single year.
Okay.
And then I would lose it all and then some.
See, and I've never looked at her to look like she's big. Like I always knew I was big, but I've never, ever in my entire life looked at her and thought like, oh my God, she's gained 20 pounds. Should I say? Never. You've never looked like you've gained weight to me. But I mean, look at this face. She's gorgeous.
My girl. But that's drastic. That's we shouldn't be doing that to our bodies.
No, that's definitely not
It got to the point where a good friend in the hospital said, yeah, but you do that every year, you'll lose it. And I went, I think I got an eating disorder.
But then if somebody, when people start to say things like that and notice it too, that's when things, sometimes one little comment is something that will stick in your head enough to,
So that's when I realized I probably do have an eating disorder. It's never been diagnosed. But I said to myself, this is just getting out of control. I need help with this. And, was I depressed in the wintertime?
And I mean, during the pandemic, how was anybody not depressed?
Well, I did.
I mean, you were seeing a lot.
Awful lot of weight because I was running a lot.
Yeah. And you were working sometimes 7 days a week.
Yeah.
There was no RNs. There was no people in the hospital. They needed help.
Yeah. Yeah. I worked first, second, third shift.
I mean, that had to have taken a toll on your body too. Like working so much and then losing weight and then gaining weight probably even from like month to month during the pandemic.
I was running up to 6 miles a day after work or before work.
Running to run.
Running outside.
Running for exercise.
Yeah. And just to blow off that the anxiety,
and all of that.
anxiety was just through the roof.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So I ended up getting I was like a little too skinny at that time.
Okay.
So, but that's like a whole
Crazy.
different story. Yeah.
Wow.
But then in 21, I said, well, I was still, a COVID nurse, but I started gaining
So this is
weight.
towards the end of the pandemic now.
Well,
and you
the
had
end of
gained
that, the
the
that
first
second
year.
wave.
Yep,
Yeah. So I said, let me do it the right way. I've talked to different nurses, and it was like a nurse thing back then. Everybody was doing it. So I said,
Yeah, I
I'm
do
gonna,
recall a lot
yeah,
of
yeah, the
well, and
nurses were
when
like
I
the
remember when
first
you
ones.
first started it, and I didn't really know what it was, and we were out
We
to dinner
didn't
around
know.
the corner,
We didn't
and
know what
you
it
had
was.
mentioned it, and you were like,
Yeah.
well, everybody, it was kind of everybody's doing it, and it's kind of like the doctors
Yeah.
were just like, oh, let the nurses do it, and we'll see if it's really any
Yeah.
good or not. That's
Yeah.
kind of what it
Yeah.
looked like from the outside.
Yeah.
But that was 3 years ago, and I had no idea
Yeah.
what any of these medications
Yeah.
were.
We didn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I went through, with a doctor. I did a virtual.
And that was at like a clinic, like a weight
Yeah,
clinic.
it's a weight loss
Okay.
clinic.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all virtual. I had to do like a video on everything. Normally they would have us go in and look at videos and have a consultation
Okay.
before you even start.
Yep.
Did I do a meeting in person? I think my first meeting, no, I did do a dietitian consult.
Okay.
That was in person. I'm not sure why she was able to do that,
Hmm.
but yeah. And so then it was every 3 months, we do a video conference, talk about, any constipation issues, any nausea issues, any, whatever.
So how long do you think you were on semaglutide?
A year.
You were, were you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was on Wegovy for a year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it made me sick as a dog.
So how long were
Sick as
you
a
sick
dog.
for? You were sick from the
whole
time.
time, but
Really?
I was stubborn. I was stubborn because I wanted to lose the weight and I wanted to be able to keep it off.
Yeah.
But I didn't do like what you're doing. So I would eat things, and at first I would eat things not knowing that it was going to make me sick.
Right.
And I got sick.
Well, and that was so the beginning
Yeah.
of all of these GLP1s that
Yeah.
there was and people weren't really talking about it then. Because I feel like it wasn't until Zepbound really became
we
a
kind
thing
of hid it
that
until
it became more popular and more like on social media, and then all of the YouTube channels, and people started sharing more of their information.
Yeah.
But I feel like people didn't really know that was
No.
really a side effect then, or that you had to be more careful. There wasn't a lot of outlets for you to get the information from.
No. And I was open about it. Like a lot of the girls would hide it, and I said, obviously you can tell that I'm losing weight.
Right.
And I had what we call the Ozempic face.
Did you?
So
See,
I have a really long, narrow face anyways. But when we see, I can tell on Facebook when people are taking it, because it's that Ozempic face. It's that really, it gets to be really, really thin.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose weight too quickly, what happens as we get older, you lose the adipose tissue, which is the fat in your face.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of girls will do that plumping and
Which is so funny, because here's everybody trying to lose weight and to get like more defined cheekbones and all of these things, and then people in Hollywood are putting stuff into their faces to make them look like what we're trying to get rid of.
Yeah. Or how we did when we were younger. Yeah. So, but when that happens, if you lose weight too quickly, you start to see this, like the immediate sagging and that dry. And I definitely had that. I could see it, but it was a combination of the, pandemic stuff.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I kind of stuck with it. I took the Zofran.
Now were you having to take the Zofran every day?
I'm not on that.
When you were taking it.
Not every day, no, because I would kind of tough it out.
I had to take it today.
I have belly issues anyways, because I'm a nurse. Mm-hmm. We all have belly issues, and so I kind of just toughed it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you eating 3 meals a day?
No.
Were you eating?
I couldn't.
Yeah.
So... I couldn't get water in. I was so nauseous, and I was so full, I couldn't even get water in.
Oh.
And nurses have a hard time getting water in anyways when it's busy. So it was not the healthy. I did not do the healthy route,
Yeah.
I was
even
like,
though you were under doctor
I
care
was under
at the
doctor
time.
care, yeah.
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 And they weren't actually seeing you, and because
Yeah.
I wonder if things would have been
Yeah.
different if they were seeing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was that bad, if they would
Yeah.
have changed dosages or changed medications
Yeah.
or done something
Probably
differently.
But I would be like, yep, I'm losing weight, and and they'd be like, oh, you're ahead of schedule. Oh, you're ahead of schedule, and I'm thinking, oh, that's great.
Which is funny because you
Probably
have to wonder
wasn't.
where are they getting that information from, because
Yeah.
3.5 years ago this was so
Yeah.
new. What did they really
Yeah.
have to compare anything to?
Yeah, your weight loss, exactly.
Yeah.
Your weight
So
loss
in
was, like, ahead of
total,
schedule, but-
do you remember how much you were losing, like monthly or whatever at the time?
I started at 169, I want to say, and I went down to 123.
Wow.
Which, yeah,
Yeah, that's really
a
small.
120, or maybe in the, yeah. I know I lost probably in the high 40-ish pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems excessive.
And it went, yep. And then I said, all
especially
right.
since I'm currently 165. So that's
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah.
she was trying to get away from.
Yeah.
Yep. 120 I can't even, which
Yeah.
is what they say we should be at, which is
Yeah,
weird.
but we're older.
Yeah,
I
don't agree with
No.
that at all.
No, it's a number.
Because
So for
I
me-
should be between 92 and 123.
And I'm like, what, an inch taller?
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
No, they
That's
need to
crazy.
revise that, because that is not
Yeah, it's like from the
healthy.
1800s or
Yeah.
something, those charts.
No, and I always, for years and years, had it in my head. I got to stay at one. Well, that's what I got married. I was 124, so that's
Yeah.
not realistic. That wasn't
Right.
realistic for me.
Yeah, in your 20s
not-
it is, but not in
yeah.
our 50s.
No, and they would ask me, well, what's your weight loss goal? What's your, instead of, she could have said it. I don't remember, but they could have said, or should say, this would be what do you think is a healthy weight for you? What do you think is normal for you? And this is what I think you should be at. Let's not look at the scales.
Yeah.
And the numbers and things like that.
Right. And that is the one thing about my doctor now that I know you're not a huge fan of, but she's not putting any numbers on anything like
Well,
that.
that's good. That's
just
good
the
then.
BMI,
Yeah.
looking at that, and even that she's
Yeah.
like, we just want to get to
Yeah.
a healthy, like she doesn't have it
That's
numbered
good.
down. And I think
That's good.
that those types of that type of mentality is what kind of makes people get into like an eating habit or a bad or
an eating disorder.
An eating disorder.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thinking that I
Yeah.
need to be, at 53 years old, I need to weigh 120
Yeah.
something pounds. Like,
So
no.
you had mostly, obviously the positives being the weight loss, which is what you were intending for.
Yeah.
Besides that, everything else that you experienced while taking that medication was pretty negative then.
Yeah.
So did you have any other positive? Did you notice anything that was things that were maybe bothering you prior that seemed to come to a head while you were taking the medication? Like where I'm having a lot of joint problems and stuff like that. Obviously, being on the medication, losing weight, that has improved for me.
Yeah.
Were there any things that you were like, oh, well, this has happened as like a positive? So you had no real positives.
I had the blinders on. I was like, okay, that's too heavy. We need to get, and I'm like, what's the quickest way?
Yeah. So you were basically, you just cut your calories. You couldn't even cut because you just couldn't eat.
No. I tried to eat the healthiest I could, but I didn't always eat the healthiest that I could. And then come January, we got to a max dose, and it really wasn't.
Oh, you did max out.
Well, max for me.
Okay.
And then she said, I don't want to increase that. Why don't we try Ozempic?
Okay.
And then I was on the lowest dose. So you started with the lowest dose there, and it wasn't doing anything for me. And at that time, that was January-ish of March of 23. And so she put me on Ozempic, and it was the lowest dose.
But Wegovy and Ozempic are the same thing. So I'm wondering if
Yeah.
she had you at something else before.
No, I was just on Wegovy.
So I wonder
Yeah.
if she just switched you to Ozempic for
switched.
insurance reasons, because Wegovy and Ozempic are the
Yeah.
same thing. They're
Yeah.
just by the different manufacturers.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she switched you for a reason, because when you went to Ozempic, you went back down to the lowest dose.
Yeah.
And there was no time in between when you stopped.
There could have been, but I
wonder
don't know.
if you stopped for a little
That
bit
was a
and
while
then
ago. Yeah.
went back.
But anyways, I was on the Ozempic. It was only like for a month. I couldn't really notice like that it was doing anything for me. And at that time, there was a shortage. I was working in the office at the time, and I said, I can't do it. I said, I'm a nurse. I'm calling around different hospitals. Yeah, I'm calling around different pharmacies for this medication, and here I am taking it for weight loss. So I said, I just went off of it.
They must have switched you. I bet she switched you because of the shortage.
Yeah.
Because the Wegovy and the Ozempic are the same thing.
Yeah.
So she probably switched you to Ozempic because you couldn't get the Wegovy anymore.
Yeah.
And then you realized that people who really needed it for type 2 diabetes needed it more than you did.
Do it anymore.
Yeah. I'm sure as a nurse that would be
and
difficult.
Then
so that was
of 23.
That was of 23. So then you stopped.
I stopped.
And then what happened?
I gained everything back.
You gained back 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Was it quick?
More. No, it was like gradual-ish.
Were you
It's my normal.
Still cognitive of it and like
trying to
looking on the scale and like watching it? So were you seeing it like creeping back up?
Yeah.
And were you trying to do anything about it, or were you just like busy and life happens? And
I don't think I was exercising
that's my big
at the time.
concern, and that's something that I'm always curious about. Like if we've been on these medications and we know the chances of gaining the weight back is nearly 100% if you're not watching it, and people are actively watching the scale and stuff like that, and you see 5 or 6 pounds, now we're at 10 pounds. So at that point, why, like, I'm just always confused. Like, how do people say like, oh, I gained back 100 pounds and then some? How do we get to that point?
Yeah.
If we're like, aren't we watching it? And that's like my big fear.
Yeah. No, I wasn't. I just went back to my usual. Life was busy. I was working a lot. I work a lot of hours. Used to, anyways. Life got busy, and I was just like.
So you just kind of woke up a year later, and you were 40 pounds more.
Yeah.
So
well, because I've done that my whole life, so it was just normal. That was my normal to do that. Yeah. So then in March of 24, I went to a different weight loss doctor who.
Now, was there a reason that you switched?
It was the first appointment I could get.
Okay.
Yeah. And that particular doctor was no longer with the group. I don't know where she went. Okay. I really liked her. But this particular doctor, she looked anorexic to me when I...
This new one or the old one? The new one.
The new one, yeah. Wow. Yeah, she was really like unusually thin. Wow. Like one of the thinnest people that I've seen in person in a long time. And I thought, I don't know if I should be here. And, you know, so we decided to go on phentermine. And phentermine is a stimulant.
Yep. And that's oral, right?
That's oral medication, yeah.
Is that once a day?
That's, once a day. And I started on the smallest dose, and that was like the worst thing I could have done. Because it's a stimulant. Yep. I have undiagnosed ADHD. That made me crazy. It felt like I was drinking like 2 pots of coffee a day. Ew. My heart rate went up. My blood pressure went up, and I have low blood pressure.
And that was at the lowest dose?
That was at the lowest dose. I think it started out okay, but then when she increased the dose, it, you know. Yeah.
That sounds, to me personally, irresponsible for a doctor to be prescribing basically like Ritalin type medication for people
it's like
to lose weight.
It's like a new version of Fen-Phen.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking it if it works for you. I mean, you know, I pen scripts for patients and, you know, they use it. I don't see it as much as the Zepbound.
It just seems to me like
and-
something like that could become addictive quickly. And that's concerning to me.
I don't see how it could be addictive.
No.
But it was.
It's not
maybe
like an
just for
Adderall
me.
kind of thing, though.
I don't know. I mean, maybe people like that kind of feeling, but I was.
But people become
crawling
addicted to
out of my
Adderall
skin.
like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know someone in my life now who's addicted to Adderall.
Really?
It has to have it. Yeah.
No. It made me super anxious. Like super, I have anxiety at baseline, and this was just.
So how long did you take that for?
Not long. I stopped.
Like a couple of weeks.
After she increased it.
Oh, you increased.
She had increased it. Or maybe I was on the same dose. I just stopped it. And I sent them a message to the portal. I said,
so you just went cold turkey and said, no.
Well, it's an as needed, so it's a PRN medic. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so strange. Like,
no, it's not. I'm sorry. You take it once a day.
Okay.
You take it once a day.
Now, did you lose any weight when you took that?
I lost 14 pounds.
In like how time span? A couple of weeks?
No.
Like over the course of like a month?
No. Like 3 months maybe.
Really? Okay.
Or 2 months. I wasn't on it long.
Okay.
I was not on
Interesting.
that long. No. And after that, that's when I said, okay. Because I'm sensitive to medications.
Right.
To begin with. And I said, all right, this is enough.
Yeah.
So that's when I started the exercise, the watching my weight. We started doing, I tried to do that whole 30 and I got to 2 weeks in. I'm like, I can't, I can't give up certain foods.
Right.
But I noticed that giving up gluten and giving up dairy, I knew I had a dairy problem.
Yep.
And I noticed that giving up dairy, giving up gluten, I felt tons better. And I started losing weight just from avoiding those foods.
Wow.
That I probably might have an allergy to. I've never been tested, but I know my brother.
I feel the same way.
My brother has a severe allergy to gluten and dairy.
Yeah, I feel like I have definitely a sensitivity, if nothing else. I keep wanting to get one of those tests, but I feel like it's going to tell me something no matter what. And I almost kind of really don't want to know that I'm allergic to bread or dairy. Like, I don't know.
I find that if, I can have certain breads, like the Portuguese rolls, if it comes right from the store, because there are less ingredients.
Right.
I bought.
I wonder if it's more of a preservative thing.
That's what I'm saying.
These reactions to like all of the fake crap that's in all of the food, as opposed to whole food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dairy, no, I just can't. I can have butter, but we don't eat that much butter in the course of a day. I can't drink milk, which I love milk. I can't even do the lactate. I love milk and cookies. So, sorry, I shouldn't talk about milk and cookies.
That's so funny.
So I do coconut milk.
Okay.
Is it the same? No, but it's better in my coffee. I'm still I'm a nurse. I drink coffee.
Right.
So it's better, and I found that eliminating the food elimination was better for me.
Okay.
Like my stomach doesn't look like.
Yeah.
I would eat like a little bit and feel so sick.
Right.
It was the foods that I was putting in my body too. So,
okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now going back to the Wegovy for a minute.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this because she was kind of mind blown when I talk about the Zepbound, and discussing the fact that with Zepbound, the food you digest into you intake the food and it kind of sits in your body before you fully digest it and it wastes out, which is what the Wegovy does as well. But the Wegovy doesn't do something that's pretty important. So the food noise, the Zepbound and the Manjaro help with the food noise in your head. And you said, so Ozempic and Wegovy do not do that. Do you feel that was still a problem while you were taking the Wegovy?
Yeah.
So even though everything made you sick and you couldn't eat, you were still thinking about food and wanting to eat.
Not as much, but those cravings didn't go away. I still, I had a sugar problem.
Yeah.
And that's when it wasn't until after I stopped taking everything that I said I have to, I have to detox from this stuff because it's an addiction.
Yeah.
It's an addiction like anything else. And
do you regret taking that medication now?
No, because I think if I had never taken it, I would never have known. Do
Yeah.
I feel badly that I was a nurse and I was taking it from, the
I mean,
diabetics? Yeah.
That's yeah, I don't think that's either
But-
here nor there. Do you have any desire now to try any of the newer? So it's been 3 years.
Mhm.
Do you have any desire now to try any of the newer GLP-1s that are on the market? No.
No.
Just because of your past experience, or because you know that you need to tackle all of these things on your own and kind of like, is there any particular reason why?
Some of the reason why is I have a fear that, if there are any nurse practitioners, doctors that are listening, if you can chime in, I have a fear that these medications might alter our pancreas
Okay.
long term.
And that fear
I
being
don't
based
know.
on what?
Just being a nurse and thinking, like, what is this doing to our normal pancreas? Like,
Is that because
not
of
a
the the
Yeah.
hormone replacement that
Yeah.
it's bringing into our bodies?
yeah, like it's almost like
I hate this chair.
you're
So big.
so my fear is that the pancreas is gonna forget to do what it does on its own
Okay.
once you stop taking the medication.
And so what is
Or
the
long-term side effects.
what is the
as well,
pancreas's main job?
is to regulate insulin.
Okay.
Yeah. So diabetics, they don't have that
But if someone's a diabetic,
Yeah.
and they're taking Manjaro,
Mhm.
they're probably taking it for life anyway. So if they're a diabetic and they need something,
Mhm.
this is a supplement to their insulin or other
Right,
things, or
yeah.
maybe this is
Yeah.
replacing that now because they've been able to keep their
Exactly.
sugar levels lower.
Yeah.
So if someone was going to be on insulin for the rest of their life or be on Manjaro for the rest of their life,
Yeah. No.
so if it's
a
life,
good thing.
if it's
Yeah.
lifelong,
Yeah, it's good for them.
so if
I
someone
agree
like
with
myself,
that.
like I don't have diabetes, so I'm taking it strictly. I mean, many of you know that I have other underlying conditions I'm also taking this for, but so I am prescribed the Zepbound and I am taking that for the weight loss.
Mhm.
That being said, where I don't have an insulin problem, do you think that there's something else that it could be doing to those of us who aren't diabetic?
I don't know enough about long-term side effects. I don't know if our manufacturers and scientists and doctors do as well.
Yeah.
If there are studies, I mean, it hasn't been out long enough. I don't even know if there are any in the medical journals. If you have come across one, feel free to let us know. But I do have that fear that it could alter, the pancreas's, job in a sense, Do I think that for people that struggle with weight loss and are borderline diabetic because of, being overweight or have
Obese.
other issues with obesity or cardiac issues, then yes. I'd rather see, I'm not for or against it. I remain neutral, so I should have prefaced with that. But, excuse me, for those folks, yes, absolutely. If it's going to prolong your life
Right.
by preventing
Right.
diabetes, heart disease,
Yeah.
cholesterol.
Right. And
all
that's
of the
kind of where
above.
I am at
Yeah.
52, right? Am I only 52? Yeah, my
I'm
husband just turned 53. Yeah, so I'm still 52.
Yeah.
Once he turns 53, then I get all confused and I think I'm the same age as him because we're like 6 months apart. But no, I'm only 52. But
Yeah.
being 52 and being obese my entire life, I'm kind of at the mindset now that whatever this medication is going to do to me is going to do it to me in 25 years. And for the time being, this is prolonging my life and it's bettering every aspect of it. Then I'll take my chances like down the road. That's kind of like the point where I'm at because my quality of life was so low and things were, it had gotten so bad that,
I was worried.
I mean, I couldn't sit and cross my legs for this period of time. Like it's, things.
And I never told you, but I was worried about you.
Yeah, it was not good. I have that digital frame in the other room and like seeing pictures just from last year. I mean, even that one, and that was only a few months ago, like just seeing my face. I mean, look at the wedding picture. Like my face was just, I didn't realize how bad it was until.
But it's not like I don't see you as, obese or thin or whatever, but as a nurse, as your best friend, I was worried that you weren't going to be around. God forbid, I have to say that. I was worried about that, and
it was funny because I never got to that point. I just was to the point where I was miserable because I wasn't mobile. I was in pain all the time, like all of those things, and the baby coming was like my real big thing because I was like, I'm gonna be the worst grandmother in the world. I'm not gonna be able to do anything with this baby.
I wish you had talked to me about that.
That was my like one of my real like aha moments where like I was able to do something. But anyway, we're getting a little off topic. So do you have any other notes? So what do we have?
No, that's it.
So you haven't done anything now since April when you stopped.
The phentermine just
but
threw me for a loop.
So you stopped that one.
I stopped that.
And that was it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is going to wrap up our little Wegovy, Zepbound, or semaglutide, tirzepatide kind of chit chat. We just wanted to give you guys a little bit of backstory and information from her side. I know that there's a lot of information, and I'm sure some of you are also still taking Wegovy, Ozempic, semaglutide, whatever the case may be. So drop us in the comments. Let us know what you're taking and what has been working for all of you guys. But thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that we were finally able to bring this to you guys.
One other thing. My experience is 1 out of thousands. So it's not to look at that and say, well, I shouldn't do Wegovy, or I shouldn't do Zepbound, or I shouldn't do Ozempic because a nurse said, no, that was my experience.
Yeah. And everybody's, and I hope that everyone who would be watching this and has seen anybody else's videos, 10 people could all be sitting right here, all taking the exact same medication and dose, and everybody's experience is so different. It's been wild just seeing the different comments or watching some of the other creators out there, some of which like are at the exact same time that I am. Like there's a few of us that are all within a month of each other starting. And I could very easily be discouraged by how much more weight this one has lost, or someone else discouraged that I've lost 5 pounds more than they have, or they've had side effects the whole time and I've only just recently begun to get side effects. So it's wild to see
everybody's body is different.
It's crazy.
Everybody's body
crazy.
is different.
And what you put into it, definitely, as you said, it definitely changes the outcome. But even that, I'm noticing that's not the same for all people. So many people I work with now are taking different types of GLP1s, and one and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying something about, going home and having a drink. And I said, you've got to be careful. I said, I get very, very sick. But then from the other room, another friend of ours who has lost a significant amount as well said, I have no problem. She has something to drink all the time and it doesn't affect her. I have one drink and I'm like, why did I do it?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Everybody's body is different. Everybody's going to react to the same medication differently.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Across different genders, ages. It's just different, and you just have to go with your your plan. Follow a doctor. Please do not get this online. Don't get it from Canada. I'm sorry.
Yeah, be very careful.
Go, just follow a doctor's order. And continue on your path.
Yep. All right. Well, we thank you guys so much for spending this motion movie with us for the past 35 minutes. We really appreciate it. Drop your comments down below. Let us know what you're taking, what you're doing, or any questions that you may have for either one of us. As I said, Kyla did the Wegovy 3 years ago, And I have been on Zepbound for the past 10 months. So if you have any questions or comments, please go and drop them there for us.
We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here. And remember, guys, when you can't find the sunshine, be the sunshine.
Be the sunshine.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Oh, I should have said thanks for having me.